From Buffalo Wild Wings on Louise Avenue in Sioux Falls, welcome to Benchwarmers. Today's featured guests are Sports Director for KDLT TV, Mark Ovenden, Dakota State University Head Football Coach, Josh Anderson, Senior Forward at USD and KDLT Sports Reporter, Kelly Stewart, and our host, Midco Sports Network's Tom Nieman.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Benchwarmers. We're at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Sioux Falls this week, hanging out with another borderline genius panel here put together by our producers.
Borderline, that's the key word.
Yeah, a lot of room on the borderline. We're sitting here on a Monday watching the end of the British Open because it got moved back a day because of nasty weather in Scotland. And just hanging out. Have you guys been like me? Have you gotten up at 6 in the morning and watched this? This is great entertainment for me, but have you guys been getting up and watching this early?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Don't tell
No
me you're
for
too
me.
busy.
Sports
Kelly?
Center does a great job. I'll just follow them.
Kelly, are you a golf fan?
I am a golf fan. I don't watch it a ton, but with these tournaments, I like to, but have not been waking up very early unless I am going to work out. So.
Fine,
Yeah.
you're still playing basketball as a college athlete, so two good excuses or one good excuse.
You know the answer.
I know you enjoy this a lot. Don't you?
The British is a close second to the Masters, and sometimes it's even like when it's at St. Andrews, it's like the favorite tournament because you can be watching it in the morning and they're done by noonish or 1 o'clock, and you got the rest of your day on the weekend to go play golf and do other things. And there's so much history there. It's the best.
That's what I like about it too, is it's not Americanized where it's beautiful courses.
Right.
And they're just battling some brutal conditions over there. And it's been fun to watch. And Jordan Spieth still has a chance here to be the second guy other than Ben Hogan to win the first 3 majors of the year. He's still in contention here, but who do you like to watch when you're watching professional golf? Who's your favorite player right now on the tour?
I'd say Spieth probably is the top of the list just because I've sort of been on his bandwagon from the time he jumped on there as an amateur and thought, this guy's going to be good. He's not as dominant as Tiger Woods. He's not intimidating like Tiger Woods was in his day because he doesn't hit the ball as far as, say, Dustin Johnson. But he's so smart. He bounces back from adversity. In the second round of the British, he had 5 3-putts, and it looked like he was out of it. He came right back in the third round and had a 66, got himself in position to win. And he's unflappable. I think that's the best word for him. He's 21 years old. He's unflappable.
He's pretty steely. It would be pretty intimidating to play.
He's very mature.
Do you have somebody that you like to watch?
I like
golf?
Spieth.
Do you?
And the fact that he's 21, I'm 22, so he's doing all this. I'm like, oh, what have I done with my life? But I just like how he plays. I like when he gets on a run, he can really get going. And I love seeing young people do well like that, so I like him.
Yeah, it's turned into that on the PGA Tour right now. You see John Daly play in the first 2 rounds of this? That was kind of fun to watch.
I did. And of course, I used to enjoy watching John a long time ago. I've modeled myself after him, so including the entire game.
And you hit the ball real far, too,
Yes,
by the way.
I do. Sometimes not straight, but that's why I like to play at the British Open whenever I can. It's wide open. I can go find it. No, I never played there. But, Spieth is obviously fun to watch. Just doing some great things, but I guess I'm a Bubba Watson fan. I just think he has a lot of fun.
Really?
He plays golf. He's played golf really well, but if he doesn't do well, he's not going to be down on himself about it. And he's got his family there with him, and I don't know. He plays for good cause. He's always playing with his pink driver. I'm a Bubba Watson fan.
And there are a lot of Bubba Watson fans. I was at the Phoenix Open a couple of years ago, and he was clearly the favorite.
A lot of guys on the other side, too, don't like Bubba Watson, but he's kind of polarizing, but popular.
But a guy that's never taken lessons and he's just taught himself how to play and he just wails at the ball.
Yeah.
Most of us can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I love that.
You talk about the young people taking over, all these Jordan Spieth being 21. There's always, the question was, who will be the next Tiger? In every sport, who's going to be the next Michael Jordan or the next Gretzky or the next whoever? And there's always going to be somebody. We like to live in our own little time and place and think that this is as good as it can get, but there's always going to be somebody coming up, isn't there?
Yeah, some guys come and go, but Jordan, it's just fun to see him go. I mean, the fact that he's in the competition right now with his last day, and he's 1 stroke behind currently, that takes a lot of nerve to be able to do that. For a 21-year-old to do that, he's making history here, and I don't know how he can do that. It's impressive. I'd like to see him be the next, I guess, Tiger Woods, but it's just fun to follow a guy and watch them have success.
Would you like to see somebody dominate?
Jordan just rolled in a bomb
Did
to
he?
tie
All
for
right.
the lead, by the way, as we're sitting here talking.
Okay.
That's why I was looking up there and smiling, because there's the monitor. I don't know. Like I said, Tiger was so dominant. He put fear into everybody's hearts when he walked on the course. I don't think Jordan's ever going to be that kind of a player, but I think he could win as many tournaments.
Would you like to see somebody do that? Do you like it better when there's one guy that's just the guy to knock
But there's
off?
a lot of really good players now.
Right.
More so than there were back in Jack and Ernie's day.
All right, we're going to talk a lot about women's sports here in our next segment, and there's a golf subject that deals with women's golf. The Symetra Tour is right below the PGA, or the LPGA Tour, the Women's Pro Tour. It's kind of a road to the LPGA Tour, they call it. They've got a tour event coming to Sioux Falls. It's going to be out at Willow Run. Great Life, Tom Walsh, they're putting on a tournament out there, doubled the purse, the biggest purse they've ever had on this tour, but this is a big deal coming to Sioux Falls, isn't it?
Very much so. This is the AAA of the LPGA Tour, and these players are so close to being on the LPGA Tour, as evidenced by Kim Kaufman. She did really well in a short period of time on the Symetra Tour and ended up getting her tour card and is now a regular. She did really well in Toledo over the weekend.
She's
and
top 60 on the women's tour right now in money.
And she's going to keep her card, and she's just going to get better and better. But this is a chance to see the next Indy Park and all these players that played on the Symetra Tour and on their way up. And it's the end of the year. It's like the third to last tournament. It's the biggest purse. You're going to see all the best players on this tour here because they need the top 10 get their tour cards, and they need the money, the money earnings from that tournament to better their status in terms of the yearly money winnings.
A lot going on in Sioux Falls. This is just another thing on top of that with all the concerts and all the good stuff coming, and it's just a fun time to be in South Dakota, and isn't it right now? Even coming from Madison, how do you look at Sioux Falls, Josh? Is living in Madison right now, looking at Sioux Falls?
It's nice
enjoy
to be,
what's going on here?
It's nice to be just outside of Sioux Falls, so you can always get down here and see all the premier events that are going on. Obviously, the Denny Sanford Premier Center has brought in a lot of exciting concerts and a lot of events going on, and I think this golf tournament is pretty sweet that Sioux Falls is going to host something like that. I like the fact that Sioux Falls is always trying different things and trying to bring in different area things. We're trying to get some of the NCAA basketball in town, so the fact that Sioux Falls can do that makes it really exciting, fun to be in Sioux Falls. And honestly, it's something that we recruit to in our football program. Is you're just outside of Sioux Falls, you're away from the action, but if you want to get in it, you certainly can. And I think it's great for Mark to have something else to report on. Sometimes I know he struggles. We've had him up in Madison doing T-ball tournaments, and I just feel terrible for him. So this is a good event.
Thanks for thinking of me,
Yeah, you
Josh.
bet,
He just
buddy.
he wants to go play golf and then work a little bit.
Yeah, any
That
chance
would be a
you
nice
can.
job.
You were close to a hole-in-one this week?
2 yesterday, within 3 holes. Both this close.
Kelly, you're working with Mark at
Yeah.
KDLT. Does he work or does he play golf?
He works.
Liar.
It's work hard, play hard for Mark. He works really hard, and he's at KDLT a lot, but then I see him on the course, and he's posting the pictures on Facebook and everything, and it sounds like he's doing really well.
All right, we're done with golf. We're done with Ovenden talking about golf. British Open, we're going to see how it comes out here, see if Spieth can get it done. We're going to talk a little bit more about Dakota State football coming up. We're going to talk some USD women's basketball with Kelly Stewart and some other women's issues. Women in sports, we'll talk about that next. Are we still chauvinistic? Do we care as much about women's sports as we should? We'll talk about that next.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Welcome back to Benchwarmers, hanging out at Buffalo Wild Wings in Sioux Falls. And we're here on a Monday afternoon watching the final round of the British Open. Jordan Spieth is coming to the 17th hole as we speak, so we're going to keep an eye on that. But let's talk about women's basketball here for a moment. And University of South Dakota is going to be a contender again, we believe, this year in the Summit League. Kelly Stewart's going to be back for another season. And you guys get Nicole Seekamp, MVP of the team, MVP of the league, is coming back. What's the state of USD women's basketball right now?
We feel good heading into this year. We've been working so hard in the off season. Nearly our whole team is out there. We've just been missing one girl because she was playing for Team Canada, Abby Fogg, and then Caitlin Severin will be joining us in the fall as a walk-on. So we are so excited. We're really fueled, pumped up after the end last year. And to have Nicole back is just such a blessing.
All right, it has come down in the last couple of years to the Coyotes and the Jackrabbits, and I see no reason why it's going to be any different this year.
I sure wouldn't think so. Nicole's a great player. I mean, she makes everybody else around her. She's kind of that Larry Bird kind of a player. She makes everybody around her better, and it's kind of, I'm guessing, a very settling influence on the team, and a confidence thing, knowing you have her on your side back for another year is got to help the whole team.
Yeah, and a big thing we were looking for this year, going into this year before we knew Nicole was back, was where's our leadership going to come from?
Right.
And then, because that's huge, when we found out Nicole was back, it's like, oh my gosh, this is great, because we lost Ray, we lost Lisa, and they were huge leaders on our team. So having Nicole back, and just like Mark said, she makes everyone else on the court better, and just playing with her, she'll always hit you when you're open. She makes plays by herself. She just makes the whole team better, so we're just really happy to have her back.
Plus, I love interviewing her. She's from
great
Australia.
accent.
Yeah,
I just love
everyone
the way
loves
she
the
talks.
accent.
Just being honest.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, that's kind of chauvinistic in a way,
is
but
it?
that gets us into our next subject here.
Oh my God.
It doesn't matter whether it's
Oh,
a
boy.
man or a woman. I love the Australian accent. It's
Okay.
cool.
All right. Thanks for clearing that up.
You bet.
Let's talk about Becky Hammond for a moment here. South Dakota girl from Rapid
Trying to
City.
get me in trouble.
Played
over
the
here.
WNBA for a long time. She's now an assistant coach with the San Antonio Spurs, the men's team, and she's coaching a summer league team, or was coaching a summer league team in Vegas. And she comes to a press conference, and people are asking her about what's it like to be the first women's assistant in the NBA. And other people are banging on her because you shouldn't be even asking that question at this point. Are we to that point, though, in the United States where we shouldn't look at gender, or is this still a big deal that Becky Hammond is a coach in the NBA?
I think it's a great deal, and it is a big deal, and I think it's a great question to ask her because she is the first one in, and what a huge success story for women. And so why not ask her how she feels about it and how excited she is? I think it's great. Obviously, being from South Dakota,
Yeah, it
a
makes
lot
it
of
even
pride in
better.
that. So, I'm pumped for her. I think Greg Popovich obviously is a tremendous coach in everything he does. So the fact that he brings a woman on board and somebody that he knows will do a good job and somebody the players will respect, what a great question to ask. Why not promote such a good thing? And so that and leading back to the questions we had earlier about SDSU and USD, what a great year you guys had last year. And that is huge excitement for women in the Summit League, especially to play in Sioux Falls in that arena, and for us to be able to send somebody from South Dakota, whether it's USD or SDSU, to the national tournament every year. What a huge prideful thing that is for myself and everybody else in South Dakota. So Becky Hammond, USD, SDSU basketball, I think it's a tremendous thing for women's sports.
Yeah, around here, especially in women's basketball, it is elevated and gotten so good to a point where it is almost on par with the men's game. People want to watch the women's game at USD and SDSU almost as much as they do the men's game.
I would say just as much. I mean, look at the fact that we've got the women's Sweet 16 coming to Sioux Falls. That all by itself says how rabid the fans are around here about watching women's basketball. That's probably the coolest event that we will have seen when that happens in the however many years I've been here. I almost said it, but
4 or 5 years you've been around.
38.
That is true, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I mean, the fact that we're getting the women's Sweet 16 here, that's pretty cool.
On top of all these other big things we've
Exactly.
been talking about.
Yeah.
Kelly, as a female athlete, do you find that you get the respect from fans, from the media, that men's athletes do at the college level?
I think it's getting a lot better, and I feel very well respected when it comes to our team and just in the state of South Dakota, us and the Jacks playing, and it's just been great. The community support, the state support. I mean, you look at our Summit League tournament, we led the nation for attendance. We had more than the ACC, the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, all of that just at our little Summit League tournament, which wasn't so little. So I just think that's testament to how the support's growing and the respect, the attention, and it's been great to be a part of.
And maybe South Dakota is unique in that way, I don't know. But you talk about being here 38 years, 35 years ago, when you were going to go plan your coverage for TV, you would go to men's games. Was women's athletics even on the radar at that time?
It was getting to be.
Was it?
It's certainly grown. In 1999, I went with the Roosevelt girls basketball team out to Oregon when they played in that Christmas tournament, and at that point in time we didn't have the abilities to do the kind of satellite uplink things that we do now, just off a computer and sending it back via email. It's great what we can do now, and back then I had to arrange in Portland to go to the NBC affiliate in Portland and do all my editing and send stuff back. And when I got there, they were like, "You're here for a girls' basketball tournament? You came all the way? Seriously?"
Yeah.
And that was the first day. It was a 4-day tournament, and by the 4th day, I had them so excited about what I was doing, they let me use their satellite truck so I could do a live shot from the tournament back to Sioux Falls for the championship game.
Wow.
So, it isn't the same everywhere, but I honestly do think that here, women's sports get covered way better than they do in most places, and that was a great example of it right there.
That's probably true. Football, if you ended up having a female wide receiver one of these years at Dakota State, that would still be a huge news story, wouldn't it? I'm trying to get to the point of we're never going to get maybe in our lifetimes where we're going to just have a total melding of the genders, and it's not going. We're going to have one golf tour. We're going to have everybody playing together. Will that ever happen, do you think? Any idea?
It's hard to say, especially with all the opportunities that women have in their own sports, to compete, and the competition in women's sports is continuing to get better and better, so there might not even be a need for it. But if a woman did make a wide receiver at Dakota State University, it'd only be because she was capable of doing it. Not all men can play either, so if a woman could make that happen, no matter what level it was, it wouldn't be just for show. It would be because she would be the best athlete in that position to help us try and succeed. So never opposed to it, and if a woman wanted to do it and could beat out the men, so be it.
It'd be a unique situation, wouldn't it? All right, some great female athletes around this. We just got done covering 4 days of rodeo at the Corn Palace Stampede. There was a barrel racer named Christy Steffes who had one of the most amazing athletic moves I've ever seen. She's coming around a barrel. If you knock a barrel over, it costs you a time penalty. She reaches out while she's riding, holds the barrel up, sets it back down, and goes and finishes her ride. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen from a female athlete in South Dakota. I think you're right. South Dakota is a little bit unique in that we've got some really good female athletes, and the coverage is a little bit unique.
Look at Becky Hammond. Greg Popovich would not be doing this.
He's not doing it kind of ploy at all.
Right. He thinks she can do it, and I do too. I covered her from the time she was in high school, and she reminded me of Pete Maravich when she was at Rapid City Stevens. She was behind the back, and she played unbelievable at that level, and who knows, maybe she could play in the NBA. She can certainly coach in the NBA. She knows the game.
Yeah, we're going to get to that point one of these years. So, all right, when we come back, we're going to talk some college football. When does Dakota State get going here, and how are they going to do in the NSAA this year? And we'll talk a little bit about the Missouri Valley as well. Some college football when we come back.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Welcome back to Benchwarmers. Are you ready for some football? College football gets going here in about 2 weeks or so. The Missouri Valley Conference teams get going, report that week of August 5th. Dakota State gets started when? When do you guys get practice going?
We officially start Monday, August 10th, 3 weeks before our first game. So right around the corner, a lot of excitement building up for this year.
It seems like summer gets shorter every year. Does football, does it start the same time every year, or does it keep creeping up? It just seems like we're always ready for football, and it gets here in a hurry.
It always does at the same time, but I tell you what, after July 4th, it's almost like, all right, let's go. That's the last big holiday, last big summer event. Seems like after that happens, we're ready to go.
Our producer, Fuzz, keeps saying summer's over, and we keep telling him, man, stop saying that after the 4th of July. But we're really getting down to it, and Dakota State in the North Star Athletic Association, still kind of a young conference, but talk about that a little bit and who's going to be good and where you guys are going to be at.
Well, obviously we feel good about our program. Valley City State was the conference champions the last few years, and they've got some good momentum. Coach has been there a long time, and they've got another program that we're going to be in contention with. If we feel like we can beat them, you got to beat them in order to win. You got to beat them all, obviously, but you want to beat the best.
Valley City's, though, the favorite.
Yeah, definitely the favorite this year. But we had a good season last year, 6-5, first winning season we've had in 16 years. So our retention was up for the spring, and it made recruiting a lot easier because we didn't need to fill so many holes. And so we've got a lot of people back. We were really young last year, so only graduated 5 seniors. 2 of them happen to be All-Americans, but you gotta replace them sometime.
Yeah.
So.
And you're getting into your 7th year now. Is that kind of prime time as far as being at a program?
7 years? Has it been 7 years?
It's only been 7 years. That's right. So, yeah, I tell you what, it seems like it seems like it went fast. Sometimes you look at it, but in other ways, when you look back, it's been a long, hard road to try and get to this position. So we had 23 players when I showed up in the spring of 2009, and we had 73 for this last spring. So winning certainly helps. I talk to Bob Young all the time, and he says it took him 8 years to have a winning season. So.
And look what he did, yes.
Yeah, we did it in 6. So,
exactly.
yeah, we're going to try and model after Bob Young because I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did okay.
Yeah.
Dakota State opens August 29th at home against Dakota Wesleyan. You got 3 home games to start the season there in the North Star Athletic Association. Your Twitter handle is still Nodak Bison, isn't it? With your NDSU?
Sodak Bison.
Sodak
That's
Bison.
right.
It's your North Dakota State University roots there.
Yeah, I tell you what, a
State.
lot of pride in being a Bison. And
Are they going to win the whole thing again in the Missouri Valley? And
absolutely, they are. You bet.
I can't argue. I don't know.
You know, they're the team to beat. You know, it was South Dakota State was right on their heels, had them in the fourth quarter last year in the playoffs, and you know, that last final drive that the Bison had to win it was a really exciting game. So honestly, I'm kind of torn. I like to see South Dakota football do well, but I always like to have my Bison hat on when I need to.
Jackrabbits are going to be in contention.
I thought they had them.
Jacks are going to be all right. Kelly, USD's trying to get that football program going down there. As a student going to games in the Dakota Dome, is it a good experience for USD football right now?
It's a very good experience. You know, going to the games, obviously, every game day it's 70 and sunny in the dome, so we don't have to worry about weather. But the student tailgate has really picked up, and I think the atmosphere is improving, so hopefully we can get some wins this year.
I'd like to see Joe Glenn get some wins. He's such a great guy. I mean, what a motivational person.
Yeah, and we'll see. That maybe, I don't know about this year, but they seem like they're on the verge of starting to put some things together down at the University of South Dakota. So we'll see you in the Missouri Valley this year. Best of wishes to Dakota State and Coach Anderson. When we come back to Wild Wings, we got a winging it question. We'll go into the lunchtime crowd here for that when we return on Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Welcome back to Benchwarmers. Time for our winging it question. We go into the lunchtime crowd here at Buffalo Wild Wings, and for that, here is Austin Bramley.
Hey, thanks, Tom. I'm here with Dublin, who's from right here in Sioux Falls. He's got a question on the Twins.
Do you think the Twins have enough good relief pitchers to make it to the playoffs?
All right, thanks, Dublin. Tom, back to you.
All right, thanks to Dublin, coolest name ever here on this show so far. 12-year-old Dublin wants to know, do the Twins have enough relief pitching to get just to the playoffs, at least to the playoffs? So what do you think?
They need more middle relief pitching. Glenn Perkins has been awesome at the back end of the bullpen. Faltered for the first time Saturday night, but they need a couple of arms in the middle. That's their weak link right now.
Starting pitching's good enough?
Yeah, I think so.
Hitting's good enough?
Yes.
Wild card, most likely?
Most likely. Kansas
City Royals are going to stay in front, are they not, Josh?
Just to keep the peace at the table, I'm going to say yes and agree with you.
All right. When we come back, we've got our poll question, who is currently the best female athlete in the world? We got that when we come back on Benchwarmers.
Right here.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Welcome back to Benchwarmers. Our poll question this week, who is the best female athlete in the world currently? And the voters here at Buffalo Wild Wings say Ronda Rousey, the MMA fighter. She's also an actress as well, with 40% of the vote. Not much for Maya Moore, but that's who you would have voted for, Kelly?
Yep. I mean, obviously a tough field to pick from, and without basketball bias, I say Maya Moore. I think if we're looking at best athlete, I'm thinking of running, shuffling, backpedaling, hand-eye coordination, all of those moves. And I feel like Maya is the one that could do those all the best.
All right. I don't disagree with that, but if it was favorite out of these four, who would you say?
Hard to pick against any of these. I'd say Ronda definitely right now is a favorite, but I'd go with Serena Williams. For anybody to win a career deal is a career accomplishment. So.
She has been absolutely amazing. British Open, as we sit here, Ovenden just went to a three-way playoff. Oosthuizen, Leishman, and Zach Johnson. This is going to be over by the time the show airs. Who's going to win the playoff?
Louis.
Oosthuizen?
Yeah.
We'll take the British Open.
Leishman would be the sentimental favorite because his wife almost died during the Masters. Right. That'd be a great story.
All right. Appreciate it, you guys. Best wishes in your seasons this fall.
You.
Thanks, Ovenden. And we'll see you next week in Grand Forks.